Hello everyone, welcome to SJ Learners channel. In this video, we are going to understand the concept of electronic evidence under the Indian Evidence Act, which has become extremely important in modern legal practice. Earlier, most evidence used in courts was in a paper form, such as written documents, letters, and records. However, with technological development, most communication and transaction now happen digitally. Because of this change, the law had to recognize electronic records as valid evidence. Electronic evidence refers to any information that is stored, recorded, or transmitted in electronic or digital form. This includes emails, WhatsApp messages, text messages, CCTV recordings, mobile phone data, computer files, call recording details, online transaction records, and even social media posts. After amendments introduced through the Information Technology Act, electronic records were officially included within the definition of document under Section 3 of Indian Evidence Act. This means that electronic records are treated legally the same as documents provided they are proved properly. Courts today frequently rely on electronic evidence in both civil and criminal cases. For example, in criminal cases, CCTV footage may show the presence of an accused person at the scene of the crime. In matrimonial disputes, WhatsApp conversations may be used to prove cruelty or communication between spouses. In financial fraud cases, bank transaction logs and email communication may become crucial proof. Therefore, electronic evidence has become central to modern litigations. However, electronic data is different from traditional paper documents. Digital information can be easily altered, edited, copied, or manipulated without leaving visible marks. Because of this risk, the law does not accept electronic evidence without safeguards. Certain rules are provided to ensure authenticity and reliability before courts rely on such evidences. For an example, if a person simply produces a screenshot of WhatsApp chat without proper certification, the court may refuse to accept it because it could be edited or fabricated. Therefore, legal recognition exists, but proper proof is essential. So, the key understanding from this slide is that electronic records are legally recognized as documents as per Section 3 of Evidence Act. Electronic records are widely used in modern cases, but special proof rules are necessary due to risk and manipulation. Now we must understand why the law created special rules for electronic evidence instead of treating it exactly like ordinary documents. Traditional paper documents have physical characteristics. A court can examine ink, handwriting, signatures, seals, paper quality, and alterations. If someone changes a paper document, it often leaves visible sign. Because of this, court can rely on physical examination to verify authenticity. However, electronic data is completely different. Digital information can be copied perfectly, modified easily, or fabricated using technology without leaving any visible trace. A person can edit a message, alter a timestamp, or create a fake screenshot using software tools. This creates a serious risk of misuse if courts accept electronic evidence without safeguards. For example, someone may create a fake WhatsApp conversation by editing screenshots and present it in the court. Without proper verification, it becomes difficult to distinguish between genuine and manipulated evidence. Therefore, the law needs a mechanism to ensure that the electronic record is authentic and trustworthy. To address this risk, the Indian Evidence Act is introduced Section 65B, which provided special admissibility conditions. These safeguards require certification regarding the source, device, and authenticity of electronic record before it can be accepted in court. Another reason for special rules is that electronic evidence often involves technical systems such as computers, servers, networks, and storage devices. Courts cannot directly verify these systems without expert or responsible certification. Therefore, the law requires a certificate from a legal responsible person connected with the device or the system. For example, if CCTV footage from a shopping mall is produced to court, a responsible officer managing the CCTV system must certify how the footage was generated and stored. This assures the court that the evidence is genuine. So, the key points are to remember that electronic data is easily alterable compared to paper documents. Risk of fabrication is higher in electronic documents. Special safeguards are necessary to ensure authenticity and to identify the fabricated data. Section 65B provides those safeguards. Now let us understand Section 65B of Indian Evidence Act, which provides the special procedure for admissibility of electronic records in the court. Section 65B acts as a special provision that overrides the general rules of primary and secondary evidence. When it comes to electronic records, normally for paper documents, the law prefers the original document as primary evidence. But in case of electronic records, producing the original device itself is often impractical. For example, you cannot bring an entire computer server or CCTV system to court. Therefore, the law allows copies of electronic records but only if certain safeguards are allowed. According to Section 65B, any electronic record that is produced in the court must be accompanied by a certificate stating certain details about the record and the device used to produce it. This certificate confirms that the electronic record is authenticate and has been produced from a reliable source. Without this certificate, the electronic record may become inadmissible, even if it appears genuine. For example, suppose a person wants to rely on a CCTV footage to prove that an accused was present at a crime scene. The person must produce the footage along with a Section 65B certificate issued by the person responsible for operating the CCTV system. This certificate confirms how the footage was recorded, stored, and retrieved. However, there is an important practical understanding. If the original device itself is produced before the court and the court can directly examine it, the certificate requirement may not be necessary in some situations. But generally, courts insist on Section 65B complaints. The main purpose of Section 65B is to ensure authenticity of electronic records, integrity of digital data, reliability of the device used, prevention of fabricated evidence. Therefore, Section 65B acts as a safeguard protecting courts for manipulated digital material. So remember clearly, Section 65B is the gateway for admissibility of electronic evidence. Certificate is usually mandatory. It overrides general documentary evidence rules. Now we must understand what exactly a Section 65 certificate must contain. Many cases fail in court simply because this certificate is incomplete or incorrect. So this part is extremely important both for exams and in a practical law. The first one, the certificate must identify the electronic record. This means it should clearly mention what record is being produced. For example, CCTV footage of a particular date and time, email communication, call record, or a digital file. Without proper identification, the court cannot connect the certificate with the evidence. The second thing, the certificate must describe how the electronic record was produced. It should explain the process through which the data was copied, retrieved, or generated from the device. This helps the court understand whether the procedure was reliable and free from tampering. The third one, the certificate must provide details of the device or computer system involved. It must confirm that the device was functioning properly during the relevant period. If there were any technical issues, it must clarify that such issues did not affect the accuracy of the record. The fourth one, the certificate must be signed by a person occupying a responsible official position in a relation to the operation of the device. This could be a system administrator, computer office, company officer, bank officer, or CCTV operator depending on the situation. The law requires a responsible person because courts rely on their credibility. For example, if a call detail records are produced from a telecom company, the certificate must be signed by an authorized telecom official stating that the data was extracted from company servers in the ordinary course of business. The purpose of all these requirements is to ensure authenticity and prevent fabricated evidence from entering the judicial process. So, the key points to remember clearly is that certificate must identify the record. It must explain how it was produced. It must confirm proper functioning of the device. It must be signed by a responsible person. Now let us look at conditions under section 65B of 2. Section 65B of second clause provides the technical conditions that must be satisfied before an electronic record becomes admissible in the court. These conditions are meant to ensure reliability and authenticity of digital evidence. The first condition is that the computer or evidence or device from which the electronic record is produced must have been regularly used during the relevant period. This means that the system should not be a specially created or manipulated device used only for litigation purpose. It should be part of normal functioning activities. The second condition is that the information contained in the electronic record must have been regularly fed into the computer in the ordinary course of activities. This ensures that the data was naturally generated and not artificially created later. The third condition is that the computer must have been operating properly during the relevancy of the period. If there were any malfunctions, it must be shown that the malfunction did not affect the accuracy of the electronic record. These safeguards are important because digital data can easily be fabricated. The law therefore insists on proving that the system itself was reliable and functioning normally. For example, if a company produces email records to prove a transaction, it must show that the company's server system was regularly used for business communications and was functioning properly at that time. Another example is CCTV footage from a shop. The shop owner must show that the CCTV was regularly operating and recording data during the relevant period. So the core idea behind section 65B of 2 is system must be regularly used, data must be entered in ordinary course, device must be functioning properly, reliability of technology must be established. These conditions protects codes from manipulated or unreliable electronic material. Now let us understand the different types of electronic devices that court commonly deals with in real cases. This helps us connect the legal provisions with practical situations. One of the most common forms of electronic evidence is CCTV footage. In criminal cases, CCTV recordings may show the presence of movement of an accused person near the crime scene. In theft or accident cases, CCTV evidence can become crucial for identifying events and persons involved. Another important type is mobile phone data, including call records, WhatsApp chats, SMS messages, and photographs. These are frequently used in criminal investigations, matrimonial disputes, harassment cases, and financial fraud matters. For example, WhatsApp messages may be used to prove communication between parties in a contract dispute, or threats in a criminal case. Emails and digital documents are also very important, especially in commercial and civil disputes. Companies rely heavily on email communication for agreements, negotiations, and instructions. Courts often examine such emails to determine obligations and intentions of the parties. Electronic financial records such as bank transaction logs, ATM records, and online payment data also play a major role in financial fraud and recovery cases. Similarly, GPS data and location tracking from mobile phones can help establish the presence of or movement of a person at a particular place. However, in all these situations, the most important requirement remains the same: proper certification under Section 65. Without certification, even genuine electronic material may become inadmissible. So, the key understanding here is that electronic evidence appears in many forms. It is widely used in both civil and criminal cases. Proper certification of Section 65B is essential for admissibility. Now let us look at importance and challenges of electronic evidence. Electronic evidence has become one of the most important forms of proof in modern legal systems because most human activities today involve digital technology. Communication happens through mobile phones and the internet. Financial transactions occur electronically and surveillance systems records events automatically. Because of this digital environment, courts increasingly depend on electronic records to discover the truth and disputes. In criminal cases, electronic evidence can be established presence, communication, intention, and participation of accused persons. For example, CCTV footage may place an accused at the crime scene. Call details records may show communication between conspirators, and mobile phone location data may establish movement patterns. In civil cases, emails and digital contracts often determine rights and obligations of the parties. However, electronic evidence also creates significant challenges. Digital data can be manipulated, hacked, or fabricated using technology. Screenshots can be edited, timestamps can be altered, and false data can be created. These risks create serious concerns about reliability and authenticity. That is why insists on strict compliance with Section 65B requirements before accepting electronic evidence. Another challenge relates to provide privacy and misuse. Electronic records may contain personal information and improper use may violate privacy rights. Therefore, courts balance admissibility with legal safeguards. So, the final takeaway is that electronic evidence is extremely important in model trials. It provides powerful proof but carries risk of manipulation. Section 65B safeguards ensure fairness and authenticity. Proper understanding is essential for legal practice. If you found this video helpful, please like, share, and subscribe with your colleagues. Thank you for watching. Keep learning with SJ Learnings. Thank you.